Good evening, everybody. Call to order the Select Board meeting for Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024, 7 p.m. Seeing a quorum present, I see Deborah Roberts, Vice Chair Carrera, Mr. McCrisky, and myself. If you would please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, rise if you're able. Thank you very much. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we're going to start tonight's meeting with an executive session. What is the issue?
No sound.
No sound? Okay. We'll give her a second to clear that up. All set? Okay, so we are going to start today's meeting with an executive session. There's 4 items listed in the agenda, but only items B, C, and D are necessary. So the first item that we're going to discuss in executive session is B, executive session pursuant to Open Meeting Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel and contract negotiations with non-union personnel, town clerk. Item C, request for appropriation transfer between or within departments. That's from dispatch salary to buyout per personnel agreement. And D, approval of executive session minutes, meeting of June 4th, 2024. Is there a motion to enter executive session?
So made.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, I'll take a roll call vote in this case. Ms. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. McCrisky?
Yes.
Mr. Carrera?
Mr. Chairman, I will be abstaining from all executive session. I will not be going in.
Thank you very much, and I vote yes. So the motion passes. We will be returning to open session at the probably pretty close to 7:30, and it might be a little bit sooner, but hopefully I think it'll take about that amount of time. So we'll see you in a couple minutes. Thank you very much. Call back to order the Select Board meeting, July 3rd. We're going to a couple minutes behind schedule, but that's okay. We're going to start with the next order of business, which is the Select Board comments. I'll start from my left. Ms. Roberts, do you have any comments tonight?
Yes, I do, Mr. Chairman. One is, I received in the mail, let me put my glasses on. This is from the Town of Stoughton Water Department, and it has to do with putting in the new water meters. And the first thing it says is, it's from a third-party vendor. It asks us to call this telephone line between the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to schedule an appointment. And that number is out of order. And if it happened to me, I'm sure it happened to other residents in the town of Stoughton. So I've spoken to our town manager, Mr. Coulter, and I asked him to look into this issue with the telephone number and make sure the third-party vendor has the correct telephone number. So it lists the telephone number, and of course it lists the email address, but usually we call the telephone number. So that's one thing. The second is I wanted to recognize one of Stoughton's own, and that's Frederick Richard. He qualified for the Olympics that's going to be held in Paris. This is the 2024 men's gymnastic team. That's what he qualified for, and he's one of our own. He attended the Daw School, O'Donnell School, and Stoughton High School. And I asked that our town manager have a reception for him at Town Hall to honor Mr. Richards and to thank him for the glory he has bestowed upon the town of Stoughton. Thank you very much.
Before we move on to the next speaker, I just want to say that my son took gymnastics for about 2 or 3 months. And I took it at the same gym that Mr. Richards was training in when he was, I'm guessing, in 7th grade or so, very, very young man. And even then, he was outstanding. And I was impressed, and just by what he could do as still sort of on the verge of adulthood, but still very much in his childhood. And he was the first there, the last one to leave, and just it was a wonderful mentor to the other kids, and a wonderful young man. I didn't know him beyond just sort of being there while my son was there. But when I saw that he was in the Olympics, I wasn't surprised in the slightest. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure his parents are extremely proud of him.
This is just another example that the town of Stoughton has heroes, and he's one of our heroes, and it gives us another opportunity to celebrate. And maybe taking that reception like one step further, maybe we can give him something like Key to the City, something that gives us all an opportunity to live virtually through him. That would be so wonderful as we recognize him.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roberts. Mr. Carrera, Vice Chair Carrera.
I don't really have anything other than just a comment. I hope that some of us, I was at the fireworks last night. They were really, really good this year. I thought it was one of the best shots I've seen in a long, long time, and it was a good night for it. So to those who put it together, I want to thank them. I'm all set, Steve.
Thank you so much. Mr. Krisky.
No comments.
Normally I like to talk, but we're a little bit behind, so I'm going to move on to the next item. This is town manager comments.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. In the interest of time, I've got an announcement.
Oh, could you just turn your mic on?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the interest of time, I'd like to take this announcement from the town treasurer, and I will post it on my website this evening, and so we can save that time. The thing I would like to point out is in your packet, there's a letter from you, Mr. Chairman, to the, from Mr. Tisdale to you with a follow-up on the Turnpike Street project that Mr. McCrisky asked about a couple of weeks ago. Again, too long to read, but it gives a month-by-month narrative of events and actions that have been taken by the town. This letter was sent to the Mass DOT, and we expect a response in the next couple of weeks to Joe's request for information on the above-ground water line. So that's in your package, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next item is citizens' comments. I'm just going to quickly read a statement, and then we can go about hearing from the citizens of the town. So this is a revised set of comments based on the Barron versus Southborough case. So before we begin citizens' comments, I'd like to remind everyone of or state some ground rules for this agenda item, which I, as the chair, would like to just voice as a preface before we begin. Citizens' comments is an opportunity for the board to hear from the public, but shouldn't be a dialogue or debate. I therefore encourage the board members and the town manager to listen to the comments made and make notes of those that you want to follow up on and or that warrant further discussion. If it's an item that needs further discussion, put it on an agenda for a future meeting. If it requires follow-up, we can direct the town manager to do so. If the comment doesn't require board discussion or a future meeting or follow-up by the town manager, I would request that we simply try to say thank you and continue to the next speaker and then move on to the board's business. I'll try to give everyone all the time they need, but we have a full agenda, as we always do. So I'll ask that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes. While public comments are not required to pertain to an agenda item, such comments must pertain to a matter within the public body's jurisdiction. Public comments on matters outside of the public body's jurisdiction shall not be permitted. The following comments shall likewise not be permitted: threats, incitements to immediate lawless conduct, obscenities, personal attacks, defamatory statements, and sexually explicit statements. I encourage speakers to present their remarks in a respectful manner and to refrain from verbal attacks upon the character or motives of members of the town board, of town boards or town staff, the citizens of the community, and/or each other. Thank you. Let's proceed with the first speaker. I
Mr.
remind
Chairman?
you have 3 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, if I may?
Yes.
I did receive a text from a resident that said there's no sound on our meeting. If we could just take one brief moment to make sure that smack.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Okay. We're getting word that that SMAC believes that audio should be available at home now through the cable stations.
Okay.
If they're still not hearing anything, I guess perhaps if you have somebody, you can text them just to ask if they're able to hear us now.
I have sound. This is Dolores.
Thank you, Dolores. It's great to see you, by the way.
No.
No, still not. Okay, so I know that we have sound here. This is being recorded, so I'll check with SMAC again. If they're not able to get it up in the next couple of minutes, then we'll just proceed on, and people can watch it at a later time. But I'm hoping that they're able to watch it live. We'll take a 2-minute recess while we settle this out, and we'll be right back. Actually, we're gonna do 4 minutes. That gets us to 8 o'clock. So 4-minute recess. So it's going through Comcast. We're able to verify that. We just don't have a way of verifying it's going through Verizon. Is she on Verizon? And it's also being recorded.
Hey, Steve. Yeah, no shit.
I can hear you.
Okay, so we call back to order the Select Board meeting of July 3rd. We have verified that Comcast viewers are able to hear. It's also on the website and on the Zoom. On the Google Meets site. Sound is present on all three, and we're verifying if the problem is Verizon. But at this point, I think we have to move on to the rest of the meeting. The next item, what is citizen comments? I know Ms. Walsh had her hand up before we took a recess. We'll give her.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Cynthia Walsh, 1096 Park Street. As a previous speaker mentioned, for those of us who still get paper newspapers, there was an article about Mr. Richard. It mentions he became the youngest U.S. male gymnast to earn an individual medal at the 2023 Gymnastics World Championship in October, and he was the top scorer at the Olympic trials last Saturday. I tuned in to the very end. I would suggest that you make sure you consult with Mr. Richard before you plan anything. I'm sure he's in intensive training up until the Olympics, and after the Olympics, depending on the results, he may be going on a national tour. So I'm sure he'll try to fit Stoughton in somewhere. We know that our Council on Aging does a good job of providing nutrition support for our seniors year-round. But our school system doesn't run year-round. So there's 3 months when there is no free breakfast and free lunch at school. And as they've done in the past, the school department is offering summer food service, and they've really expanded it. It's going to be at the middle school, the Daw, and the Gibbons. It's going to start July 8th and end August 2nd. The program at the Gibbons, the middle and Daw start those dates. The program at the Gibbons begins August 5th and ends August 15th. The middle school is going to have breakfast from 8:30 to 9:15 and lunch from 10:45 to noon. The Daw School will have breakfast at 8 to 8:30 and lunch 11:30 to 12. And the Gibbons is going to have breakfast from 8:30 to 9 and lunch 11 to 12. All programs operate Monday through Friday during the dates specified. And there's some rules. This has been in the last two suburban shoppers. I know a lot of parents are just too busy to read that. And if you have any questions, contact the Stoughton Public Schools Food Service Department, 781-297-1051. This doesn't solve all the problems of nutrition for our young folks during the summertime, but it's a start, and I want to make sure that all parents that need some nutritional support know this program exists and will subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Walsh. Would anybody else like to speak? Sir, if you don't mind just coming to the mic. Just hit the button to turn it on. By saying your name and if you're a Stoughton resident, please your address as well.
Good evening to the board. My name is Michael Brown. I'm here on behalf of the residents of, sorry, is that better? Thank you. My name is Michael Brown. I'm here on behalf of the residents of the Brook Meadow at Blue Hills Senior Assisted Living Facility on Central Street, specifically at 2121 Central Street. I'll make this brief. I'm here to raise a safety concern. Our property, which we bought a little bit over a year ago, is mainly behind the abutting property at 2111 Central Street, and our neighbors are here in the audience tonight. Our entranceway is on the west side of our neighbor's property. Our exit is on the east side of our neighbor's property. The entrance comes from a busy street, the exit goes out to a busy street. And our neighbors have a commercial business where they store large construction equipment on their property, which is fine. The only problem that I'm here to speak about tonight is that there are 2 front-end loaders that they have been storing directly abutting our entrance and our exit. And in fact, especially on the exit side, beyond the stop sign that's on our exit. So our residents, all of whom are elderly and have elderly guests, stop at the stop sign to make a right or a left turn onto Central Street, which is very busy, and they can't see around this huge front-end loader. And so they've come to management saying that they're nervous to drive, nervous to leave the facility, and nervous to walk around the facility. We have made many requests to the town council, to zoning enforcement, and nobody has responded. So I don't know particularly what this board can do about such an issue, but I'm beseeching you to please look into it and see if there is anything that can be done. I know my neighbors are here tonight. I'm sorry, our neighbors are here tonight. We spoke about this briefly. They disagree that it's a safety concern. I particularly personally think that it is a safety concern, and I know that our residents think it's a safety concern. And so we're doing our due diligence by bringing it to your attention here. I've submitted some photographs of both the entrance and the exit, as well as the equipment. I'm hoping that sheds some light on it. If you have any questions, I don't think you can ask me questions, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. But otherwise, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Through you, if I just may ask the gentleman to send to me any correspondence, any letters to any department heads or people within the organization, I'll follow it up with the inspectional services staff.
Okay. So, yes, reach out to the town manager. He'll take it from here.
Thank you very much.
That's why I'm saying it's an assembly thing. We're not going to discuss it.
Okay. Do we have any other speakers? Sir, I see you have your hand raised in the back. Join us up front. If you don't mind just turning on the mic. Yeah, sure. Please join us. Yeah, just turn the microphone on and get 3 minutes. Let me know when you're ready. Just also your name and address, if you don't mind. Would you mind turning the mic on?
John Palilio,
Thank you so much.
2111 Central Street.
Yeah, just turn it on and let go. Yep, there you go.
Hold the button. It's all right now?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, so nothing should be addressed to you on the select board. This is a civil matter. This is in a land court. So, and there's been no violations down there. We had the zoning officer down. He measured off where the machines are, and he said everything's 100% legal. It's been like this for decades down there, so there's no harm being done. And the judge, we had a Zoom meeting, and the judge said everything was fine. That's all I got to say.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I know, Mr. Carrera, it looks like you've got something you want to say. Feel free.
I have to be inclined to agree. I sat in the zoning board, for 5 years. One thing you learn about some properties as my own, they're called pre-existing non-conforming. Right. So these properties have been there, like the gentleman said, for decades. People who built behind these places knew what they were getting into. Matter of fact, they bought the property from another construction outfit to build there. They got special compensation to put this thing in there from the town. So all I'm going to say is we're not going to get in the middle of it. You're not going to pin us to pin on somebody who's well in their right. It's a civil case. It doesn't sit here. I checked. I measured one day, and I know they're in the right. The roadway layout is where it is. So I just want to get that clear. They're not doing anything malicious because it came to me. I've had to answer this twice. Get that stuff out of there. Oh, my God. Nobody told you to build the place knowing that that was out front. So
Mr. Chairman?
that's all I'd like
Before we
to
go on,
pass on my zoning knowledge to that point.
I will give you the floor, but just 1 second. I do want to mention that these comments, as I mentioned at the very beginning, have to be within the jurisdiction of the town, of the select board. And you will absolutely have your time to speak. I just want to mention that our guidance from council regarding this is specifically that while the select board serves as road commissioners in the town of Stoughton, that jurisdiction does not include the use of private property adjacent to roadways. And so this does seem to fall outside of our jurisdiction. By all means, people are willing to, anybody who wants to communicate with the town manager, feel free to. But until we are told that this is within our jurisdiction, it's not something the select board should be addressing. Ms. Roberts, please.
I was going to concur with Vice Chair Carrera, and I was going to concur with the resident, Ms. Palilio, and now that you've read from our town council, I absolutely concur.
Yeah, and one of the things that's made the select board successful in the last couple of years is knowing our lane and staying in it. And this seems to be outside of our jurisdiction, and we have no intention of picking up until somebody tells us, is able to convince us that it's a part of our responsibilities. So thank you very much for your time. And have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good night.
Is there anybody else in the public who would like to speak? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the next order of business. And that is a public hearing scheduled for 8 o'clock. It's now 8:11, so we're able to pick this up as our policy over the last couple of months has been. I've asked Mr. Carrera to take over the responsibility of public hearings, so I'm going to pass the baton over to him, or actually the gavel, and people should direct their comments to him during the course of this public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Hi.
I'll read the charge. A public hearing will be held by the Select Board on July 3rd, 2024 at 8 p.m. to consider the application for common victual license of, bear with me, Mai Kwan Boba, is that right? Oh, Min Kwan Boba. Okay. DBA, I was close. Bin Mi Boba Amy, right? Located at 830 Washington Street, Unit C, Stoughton, Mass. 02072. The hearing will be conducted at the Great Hall, 3rd floor, Town Hall, 10 Pearl Street, Stoughton, Mass. And/or virtually via Google Meets and may be broadcast via Stoughton Media Access Television and live stream. Google Meets video link and telephone connection for the public comment available by calling the Select Board office at 781-341-1300 extension 9212 or email gpereira@stoughtonmass.gov. And this is per order Steve Cavey, Chairman of the Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority. I'll entertain a motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ma'am, present your side.
Oh, sorry, could you just press the button at the bottom? Just turn it on? Perfect, thank you.
There you go.
Yes. Hi. My name is Mai Hon Ting Nguyen, and I'm the owner of Minh Nguyen Boba Inc., DBA Bánh Mì Boba and Me, located 830 Washington Street, Unit C in Stoughton.
Go ahead.
Because this is the first time I'm doing this, like, in front of the board, so I'm kind of nervous a little bit.
That's okay, we're friends, we're friendly.
We're
Yeah.
friendly.
We basically just like selling like Vietnamese sandwiches and boba tea.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, we have some correspondence from our departments. The only thing I'd like to ask you
Yes.
is we have her the industrial accidents report showing that that's right. On your application, can I just ask a question? I
Absolutely. Yes.
how many counter seating do you have? Is it 10?
10. Yes.
Okay. Then it says table seating. I couldn't read that. How many for table seating?
It's actually just technically only nine
Okay.
table seating, yes.
All right. So the total seating capacity is,
12,
okay.
yes,
That's all I wanted to know. And
Yes.
your hours are 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.?
correct.
Okay. And you do have use of the dumpster?
Yes,
All right. So we have from the fire department, from Assistant Chief Jackson Maycomber, it's approved. From the police department, Chief Donna McNamara, they have no objections, so it's approved. From, that's another letter from Donna. From Larry Perry of Board of Health, we have an approval from him, and you've answered everything that
yes, I
spoke to you
did.
about?
Yes.
right? And from Jack Erickson, Building, has given her an approval. And Teresa Cardoza out of the Treasurer's Office, there's no outstanding taxes. And the Water Department, Karen Brown, is approved. So that's what we have. The petitioner has told us about her business, and I'll open it up to the board. Joe, do you have a question? Go ahead.
This is a real interesting question, thought provocative. I have heard from several different people
Yeah.
that your sandwiches are to die for.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay? Not having them, please describe what kind of sandwiches you have.
It's like, it's similar to a French bread, but this is the Vietnamese style, like mostly like vegetable in that, like cucumber, cilantro, and depend on, like we have like barbecue chicken or barbecue beef. It's very healthy. You should come and try it. That's the best proof,
Well,
Hey, Joe, it's very healthy.
yeah, it's very healthy. Yeah, but she said bread, so that's the killer right there. But no, I just had to ask because in the short time you've been open, several people that I know have said, you got to go try it. You got to go try
Oh,
it.
thank you very much.
Said they've been back. As soon as they finish one, they want another one. So
Oh, that's good
you don't
to
hear
know.
things like that often. So good luck.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Roberts?
I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you,
And
Vera.
thank you for the invitation. I plan to go and taste a Vietnamese sandwich. It's
Please
gonna be
do.
so good.
Also the boba tea too.
Ooh.
Yes, very, very good.
So that sounds really wonderful. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Cavey?
Yeah, so just to echo the same thing, I've actually heard for probably the last 6 months how good these Vietnamese sandwiches are. And I was kind of like looking around for somebody who sold them nearby, and I think that there's some nearby, but I just never got around to get out, to find one. When I saw one pop up in our own town, I was like, thank God.
Thank you.
So I'm very excited. I haven't come yet, but believe me, I'm going to be there, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And thank you for picking Stoughton as a place you wanted to do business.
I have to say, before I opened this, I was a little bit nervous because the lender told me that, how are you going to make it happen, especially not so many Asians live in Stoughton? And I said, I'm a Vietnamese, and in fact, my dad, the reason I opened the Vietnamese sandwich because my dad, his favorite food is bánh mì, like Vietnamese sandwich.
Yeah.
And he passed away a few years ago. So that, made me think of him a lot.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, we hope hopefully you'll stay around for a very long time, and business is good. I'll help you out. I'll be over there buying
Thank you
sandwiches.
very much.
Hey, we should do zip trip meetings, right? Live from.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Does anybody else have anything to say? Tom Manager?
public?
No? All right, I'll take the public comment. Cynthia?
Cynthia Walsh, 1096 Park Street. Where is 830 Washington?
It's across from the VFW.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Old Ronnie's Diner.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Yes. Yes.
It's been empty for quite a while.
Sonny
so it's-
Galasso's place, Cynthia.
So it's not, well, it's nice that it's being utilized because it's been empty for a while.
Yeah.
I was familiar with banh mi but what I'm looking forward to is the boba tea. So good luck.
Yeah, thank you. It's very good combination, you know.
Is there anybody else that has anything they'd like to say from the audience? I'd entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Second?
And I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion from the board.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second?
I have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Oh, thank you very
Luck.
much.
Thank you.
Best of luck. and
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
We'll
Yes,
come
we
see you.
will.
Okay, it's all yours, Mr. Cavey, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Carrera, Vice Chair Carrera. That's next several items. Next one is the approval of Massachusetts Water Resources Authority (NWRA) I&I Local Financial Assistance Program loan. This was, I think, going to be presented by Paula Newton. I don't think she's here. Or do we? So, on vacation. She's on vacation. So if people were able to read through their package.
It's the standard.
Yeah, it's standard, do it every time. The one good news we got from Paula News is that we don't have to read this entire thing into the record. So I will read the motion. If anybody will, I'll entertain a adoption of the following motion. It says the Board of Selectmen or Select Board may make a motion to adopt the vote of the Select Board as presented to the meeting, and that represents the financial assistance agreement in our package. Is there a motion to adopt?
So made.
Second?
Okay, motion was made by Mr. McCrisky, seconded by Ms. Roberts. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, done. The next is request for appropriation transfers from dispatch salary to the Select Board, from civilian dispatch to Town Council, from dispatch salary to assessing office equipment, from dispatch salary to IT other expense, from dispatch salary to animal control salary, from dispatch salary to HR office supplies, and from dispatch salary to town manager salary. Sorry? I didn't see that listed on the agenda. It says on the back of the agenda? It's all back up for the, got it, okay. So that's not listed on the agenda itself. This may require a vote now, I'll include it, but then we'll also reaffirm that vote in a future meeting as well, just to make sure that our paperwork's clean. Let me just find that in the agenda itself. Thank you, Ms. Roberts.
You're welcome.
I'm still looking at the sewer bonds. Item 8, okay, got it. And then we have also centralized purchasing as well. So this is that. No, I've got it right in front of me. I was able to find it. So, yeah, Biz, if you don't mind joining us, if anybody has any questions on this, I'll open them to the board for questions. Ms. Roberts. Oh, sorry, one second. Perfect.
No questions?
So if you don't mind turning the mic on, this might be a very short meeting. It looks like there are no questions. Okay, so since there are no questions, if you want to just give us a quick synopsis, then we'll move on to a vote of the board.
Okay, so we only have a few transfers this year from everything that's been garnered, and, sorry. There's only a few this year that have to be moved, and we have legal for the amount of $50,000. All of these are coming out of the civilian dispatch salary line, and currently there's $274,000 available in there. And when everything's all said and done, we'll be leaving only $6,000 left in that line.
Mr. Chairman, and through you, Biz, may I interrupt you for a second?
Absolutely.
Just for the public's information, from a macro standpoint, the Municipal Relief Act of a decade ago allows every municipality in the last 2 months of the fiscal year, May and June, to transfer surpluses from one department into deficits in another department. It's not to appropriate or ask for any new money. It's to move the budget surplus around to cover where there may be deficits. That's what we do. We can transfer without asking the board or the finance committee for approval if it's within the same department. If it's interdepartment, that's when we can do it in the last 2 months of the year. So with that macro overview, Biz, I turn
Yes.
it back to you.
And it's on your forms as well. It states it's for the Chapter 77, Acts of 2006, Chapter 44, Section 33B, and the Municipal Modernization Act of 8/9/2016. We're allowed to do transfers from May 15th through July 15th at the end of any given fiscal year. So the first one we're looking at is moving money into the legal budget so we can satisfy the balance of the legal. Moving money into the select board, which is $151.34. Moving into centralized purchasing, $2,000. Assessing office equipment, and that office equipment is going to allow us to purchase 2 programs for 3-year leases. One is called NearMap, and the other one is called Pushpin. And these 2 programs will help the assessing department, along with the permitize that we have in the engineering department or building department, to actually, by satellite, see additions to people's homes and balance building permits. So within the first year, we should see a substantial amount of new growth once we get this on board. It is a very valuable asset for the town, which will help us in our taxation process. Next is the IT department is requesting $34,807.50, and that is to do the electronic sign out here in front of Town Hall, so we can actually put out a memo board type of situation. From what I understand, this has been requested more than one occasion, so we'd like to try and get that satisfied. Next is animal control salary, which is $20,483, and that's to fund the animal control salary, which is reflective of the market rate adjustments that were made during the fiscal year. Next is $7,500, and this is for the Human Resources Office under the category of office supplies. They have a check folding machine because we cut our own payroll checks here and we have to process the checks. That machine is no longer working adequately, and it continues to jam. So it does need to be replaced. That's estimated $7,500. Town manager's salary, $6,200, and that's to provide funding for the negotiated contract for use of personal vehicle and sick vacation buyout. And that's it. And that is it. Any questions on those?
Any questions? Mr. Krzyzewski?
Ready to make a motion?
Yep, I think we're ready for a motion.
Motion to approve request of appropriation of transfers from dispatch to salary to the select boards, from civilian dispatch to town council, from dispatch salary to assessing office equipment, from dispatch salary to IT other expenses, from dispatch salary to annual control salary, from dispatch salary to HR office supplies, and from dispatch salary to town manager salaries.
And there's one other item, which is dispatch to central purchasing. That's in the backup, but it's not on the agenda.
Oh, okay. All right, then I'll take that as the amendment to central
Okay,
purchasing.
motion's made. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Deborah Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good 4th.
You too.
Happy 4th.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I move the approval of the request for stewardship of the 3 lots located off Brickell Road, Duncan Road, and Shirley Road There was a map submitted that shows the layout, and I thank Jerry McDonald for following through on that, so just make a motion.
Okay, motion was made by Ms. Rakowski, seconded by Vice Chair Carrera. This was run through engineering. They found this all to be wetlands and otherwise undevelopable. And in line, it was the recommendation that this be transferred to the Conservation Commission. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much. Somehow we're now ahead of schedule. Good job, guys. Well, actually, I think there was actually something, I apologize. We're going to go back real quick. When we had some issues with the television, with the sound, Town Manager Tom Coulter said there's one other announcement he wanted to make, so this might be a good time to make that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the time, and I want to speak through you to the community. Over the past several weeks, we received in my office several requests from residents asking that the practice of firing water pistols, water guns, and throwing water balloons at the people who are marching in the parade or between each other of the people marching the parade be discontinued. And Selectman Christie raised this issue before this board. We asked Matt Cushon to send out notice that we will not be doing that. And the response was fairly significant to those who have had a tradition at Bob's Market of doing exactly that. So what we've asked the public to do, and I'd like to reiterate here, and it's really initiative of Joe's, is that people show respect. Not everybody wants to be engaged in the battle of the water balloons and the water guns, and there are people who are just coming out to enjoy the parade as either spectators or people who are serving as participants in the parade. Having marched in many of them as a state rep and getting fired at, it's not, for some people, a fun experience. And so we've modified the rules this year so that that activity can only happen at Bob's. It can't happen through the entire parade route where people are spraying water cannons at everybody. And we're hoping that the people who participate in this fun activity will respect of those who are around them who choose not to participate and who choose not to be wet. And the hope is we don't have to eliminate this event next year. And it'll all be based upon people respecting the rights and the space of people who are marching and people who are enjoying the parade. So we ask everybody, and perhaps Joe wants to add to this, we ask everybody to just show regard for our neighbors. I can remember walking in the 100-degree weather in Plymouth and having this little 12-year-old line me up and knock me down. It wasn't fun. Some people choose to be in the Bob's Market battle, and that's great. It's a tradition. Some people choose not to and shouldn't be forced to participate because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. So we just ask for people to show each other respect. That's all.
I'll give the floor to Mr. McCrisky in just one second. I will say that this is going to be on the agenda for our next meeting, and the output of this parade tomorrow will determine the future of this behavior. We're not going to forget about it and wait until next year to decide. Right afterwards, we're going to discuss what happened and whether or not people were able to show the courtesy and the respect necessary for us to be able to run this. So we will have it immediately on the next agenda. But Mr. McCrisky, if you have comments.
No, Mr. Chairman, thank you, and Town Manager, thank you. I had quite a few seniors, and this goes on through the whole parade, not just Bob's. And if people are going to keep it in that area, but there's a lot of elderly. And unfortunately, what happens in some of these is the younger people get behind the spectators and throw water balloons at the floats, and then they spray back. So it's just inappropriate. There was 1 year when I was running the parade, this complaint happened with an elderly person tried to get out of the way and they tripped and fell. So it really has to be some control. There's adults running these things. A lot of them are some sports teams where this is a concentrated effort. So we need those adults to manage the people that are on those floats and around it, because it's just getting out of control. I would rather see, as I mentioned to the director of the Recreation Department and other people in years past, that when I ran the events, we were actually planning a water balloon and water fight event that would be, shooting for trophies and, so they can run an event out of it. It doesn't need to be done at the parade. If it's going to be, I do hope, let's see what happens. I do hope that it changes.
Yeah, I hope everybody uses good judgment. I kind of, in my own mind, classify this similar to like lemonade stands for children. We're not going to send the health department down, but if people start getting sick, then we're going to have to, right?
Yeah.
If we're going to hope that people use good judgment.
Analogy.
But if they're not able to exercise good judgment and they want to one up last year and people get hurt, then they just won't do it anymore. Ms. Roberts, did you have anything that you wanted to add as well? I wasn't sure.
No, I originally did not have a comment. I believe you covered it all. But one question is with the parade, and I know it's going to be on a future agenda, but with the parade being tomorrow, how do you plan to get the word out? How do you plan to market and communicate that? And I would expect these are pretty, 20-year-old and younger that are doing this. Mm-hmm. But how are you going to, if they don't listen to our broadcast?
For you, Mr. Chairman? It's a very small group of people. They're mostly sports teams. And again, it's been a custom. I get that. Don't want to interfere with that. But we have notified the coaches and the league officials that this activity must be contained just to Bob's Market, that if it expands beyond that particular stop and that it happens along the parade route, that it will be stopped in the future. So they've been informed. They do know. Matt has done a great job of communicating it and letting them know the consequences of noncompliance.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So if anybody has any other comments, you guys good? Good over here. We'll move on to the next agenda item. Way ahead of schedule, we're going to move on to the town boards and committees appointments. We have three for which there are either as many applicants as there are open vacancies, or there are fewer applicants than there are vacancies. And so we'll start with those. We'll start with the Brockton Area Transit 1-year, 3-year term. We have one applicant, that is our very own Joe McCrisky. So I will entertain a nomination for Joe McCrisky.
I nominate Joseph McCrisky.
Okay, so then on that vote, all in favor?
Aye.
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 You gonna vote?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Any opposed? None opposed? Thank you very much, Mr. McCrisky. This is your second term, consecutive term?
No, this was, Stanley Zoll served in it for a while. I was on it years ago.
Years ago.
And then when I got on to Norfolk County Advisory Board, that's when the change was.
That's
was
right, that's right.
Probably 6 years
Excellent.
ago.
Thank you very much. The next is Cultural Council. We have 3 vacancies. Each one is 1-year term. We have 3 vacancies, but we only have 2 applicants. That's Brian Butler and Dolores Stoughton. I know Mr. Butler's present. You're welcome. We've already had a chance to meet you. You're welcome to come up if you'd like, but I think we're ready to move on with the nomination. And Dolores is online as well, and she is well known and beloved. I will entertain a motion to appoint.
So made, Mr. Chairman.
So made. Second.
Okay, Brian Butler and Dolores Stoughton have been nominated by Joe McCrisky, and they were seconded and thirded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you very much for joining the Cultural Council. Your presence is very much needed and appreciated. The next is the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have one.
Board.
What was that?
Planning Board.
Yeah, that's right. We need to cover that one first. We had more vacancies than we had seats, but we need to do the planning board first. Thank you very much for hitting the brakes on that. I will mention that Jay Mallon has withdrawn his his application. So we have three members to consider, three applications to consider. Emil Barboza, Paul Bellevue, who's the incumbent, and Emily Levine. I believe we
Chairman?
have, was that?
Ready to make a motion? You all right?
Well, let's just meet the folks, because I think we didn't get a chance to actually say hi to them last time and just talk to them.
Okay.
Is Emil Barboza available? Yeah, he's not. So the next is Paul Bellevue. Thank you very much for joining us. Just tell us.
Paul Bellevue,
about yourself.
33 Connell Drive, Stoughton, Mass. Thank you, Chairman and Select Board, for the opportunity to apply for the open 5-year appointment to the Stoughton Planning Board. As an incumbent, 1-year appointed member of the Planning Board, I am asking you to consider me for appointment to the board for this 5-year vacancy. I come before you with educational background and now planning board experience. Some notable projects that have come before the planning board during my past term are the Stoughton Fire Station, Stoughton Logistics Park, Father Bill's conversion of the Stoughton Motel, Atkinson Avenue Extension, excuse me, Hebrew Senior Life, and Eagle Rock Development. The Planning Board, amongst other duties, has 2 major tasks: site review and the conducting of public hearings. The projects listed previously required the careful and thoughtful conducting of such public hearings. Public hearings encourage both the board and the developer to understand the concerns of the citizens of Stoughton, as well as the concerns of the citizens who are direct abutters to these projects. With all projects, citizens and citizen abutters' concerns are taken into account with final site review when final site review is presented. In all instances, the board and the suggestions of the public hearing are reviewed with the developer. Hopefully, the developer has been encouraged to go that extra step to provide a final project that will assist to mitigate all concerns about the development, be it commercial, industrial, or residential project. As a member of the Planning Board, I kept an open mind to both the project being presented and the concerns of the public hearings. I realize there are limits to the authority of the Planning Board. However, it has never stopped my inquiry into how a proposed development should be an asset to Stoughton and its citizens. It is my firm opinion that projects presented to the Planning Board should be reviewed carefully to provide further suggestions to the project presenters to produce a finished product that fully embraces environmental, visual, and citizen concerns. I would be happy to take any questions.
Okay. Does anybody from the board have any questions? Sir.
Mr. Chairman, not a question, but I don't do this often. I wish I could do it more. Is a total endorsement of Paul for this position. As the board knows, I was very, very active in the fire station project. Paul remembers seeing me at a lot of those planning board meetings, as well as the logistics park, where I was very involved with that one as well. Paul brings a very, very unique and fresh vision on the issues that come before the planning board, and with balance, which is great. When he says that the project should be good for the town of Stoughton, they are good. When that debate happens, there's no politics, there's no opinions, it's, fact. And as people know me, I say facts, 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 and there's no alarmist. There's definitely an engagement of the developers to get inside their heads a little bit and to see what the town can get. I remember one project that Paul was asking for some shrubs, and they said, well, you won't see them. He says, you will from the highway, right? And it makes it look better from the people riding by on the highway, which was I thought was very good. I've always said, and I don't know how many people really travel for a living, but I do, not enough sometimes, but I've always questioned when I go to a community and I see a nice building with fancy brick and some nice aesthetics to it, you know, instead of just a cinder block building painted with a little neon sign in the front. And I see Paul bringing that vision to some of these projects. The logistics park, when you think of a warehouse project, I can't wait to see it done. You know, it's going to be a good project. So, Paul, thank you for the short time you've been on the planning board. You've definitely made a mark, and I wish I could do this more, endorse people, and say I look forward to voting for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Ms. Roberts?
Hello, Paul. How are
Hi.
you?
Can you tell me a little bit about just what I'm getting to is the cohesiveness of the planning board? Is there a lot of turnover there? Can you share a little bit why it would be so important to have consistency, which is yourself, continue on in this scope of work?
Yeah, the present group of members of the planning board, I feel have a similar vision of what they want to encourage in development in the town. Being that we really have restrictions as to what we can do with site review and stuff, we do, several members of the board encouraged the developers to go to that extra step, you know, add some shrubbery, you know, be open about these situations. We also have suggestions for zoning and thoughts about how we could progress to have better zoning policies within the town to encourage nicer landscapes and presentation of the developments and buildings that are going in and around town.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Thank you very much, Paul. It's always great seeing you. The next applicant is Emily Levine. She's online, and you have to tell me if I've been mispronouncing your name as well.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
So, yeah, we were able to hear you, yes. Thank you very much for joining us. I know that your application wasn't received on time, but we had, I think it might have ended up in the wrong inbox, and so I appreciate your patience with us and offering us a chance to interview you tonight. Would you please tell us a little about yourself and about your interest in serving on the planning board?
Sure. I think, honestly, in my professional life, I spend a great deal of time engaging with planning boards. We are a nonprofit real estate developer. It's where I work, and we are building across about 7 different municipalities. And something I really appreciate is the level of commitment that members and these are volunteers that come from these cities and towns are entering in good faith and really honing in on design, you know, stacking of buildings, parking, tree corridors, certainly a lot of tree conversations, public benefit, you know, and it comes from these genuinely good places. And I think that what I appreciate about where I work is that we are genuine in coming in and mission and staying because we own and operate and manage our properties. But more so than anything, I think I've admired how tenacious a lot of the planning board members have been and how much they stick through from honestly, the nuance that is not as fun and glamorous, which is often the case in a planning community, but also really remembering what the vision of a master plan entails, why people had to be a part of leveraging their voices and why that matters, and really understanding the way you use a master plan is to make a guide for all the different players in the field that touch a project or touch the development happening within a community, because you want to balance the character and kind of charisma of a community while bringing in and appreciating and being reflexive to new and different perspectives. So, you know, I think that what I do bring is the sense of what it looks like from the developer side and how gracious you can actually find them to be, but also how hard you need to push them to do right by the end users, which is what it's really all about. So.
Well, thank you very, very much. I'm going to open the floor to members of the select board. Anybody have any questions, comments? Ms. Roberts.
Yes. Hello. Hi. I'll ask you the same question I asked the previous applicant, and that question is, I'm sure you've observed some of meetings of the planning board.
Oh, hold on, you
And-
might have a new mic.
Thank you. Can you hear me now? Okay, great. So what I'm getting to is the cohesiveness of the group. So what have you observed by observing these meetings, and why would you be a better choice for cohesiveness for the planning board? So basically, fresh blood.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to reframe a little bit. I appreciate what I think is you don't want a project to be derailed, and it can easily be derailed, and that we understand every day is a dollar. So I don't know that I would argue that having a new blood changes, like I would have a big learning curve for sure on the different projects in the pipeline and the different aspects of what's in the queue to look at relative to site planning, zoning, et cetera. I think the ironic thing about planning boards that I've experienced is you find that the range of perspectives helps in an additive way. I mean, you have staff that are full-time that have planning background in education and training, so having some breadth of perspective that, you know, my job entails bringing people together and using kind of a resident and human-centered approach to making decisions and informing policy, and in the case of our development projects, really making sure we're making good on our commitments. So I wouldn't say that I would be more of an easy transition, because if someone's already on the board as an incumbent, they know more about the pipeline. But what I can say is I learn quickly, I care deeply, and that takes the lead in anything that I do. So I would catch up.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? No other questions? Thank you very much, Emily, and I very much appreciate you applying for this position. It's a very critical one. 5-year appointments are, in a board like this, are always challenging. So I'm grateful for the people who are willing to step forward and volunteer for them. So I just wanted to express my gratitude. At this point, I will entertain a nomination. Mr. McCrisky.
Make a motion for Paul Bellevue.
Okay, Mr. Bellevue has been nominated. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Thank you very much, Paul. Emily, once again, thank you very much for applying. I'll speak for myself here, but I think this is a universal sentiment of the select board. These appointments are can be very challenging, because you find people who want to volunteer for positions, and you can't give them necessarily all an opportunity to do that. And so saying no to somebody is for me always been heartbreaking. I will say there are additional open seats, even though this is one of the few that was listed tonight. We do have seats, alternate seats for the Zoning Board of Appeals for which your service would be very much appreciated. If you're interested in that, please reach out to Gilda or to anybody in Town Hall, and we will, on a rolling basis, consider appointments to that. But there's also other open boards and committees. If any of those, once again, reach out to Gilda. She'll let you know where there's openings, and if any of those appeal to you, you will be the only applicant, and we would love to have you join the team and help us out. Your application was very impressive, and I think there's a whole lot we could really benefit from your involvement. But I apologize you didn't make it this time around. Paul, welcome aboard again. My condolences. 5 more years of dealing with this nonsense, but thank you very much for putting the time. It's always been a joy working with you, and your calm demeanor, I think, sets a really good example for thoughtfulness. Set a great example for our boards and committees, especially on such an important board. So thank you very much. Next up, we have the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have 1 seat, 5-year term, and 1 vacancy for a 2-year term. I spoke with Gary Alakwa. He is the incumbent, but I spoke with him earlier today, and he has expressed an interest in serving in the shorter of those 2 terms. I think he's still has a little bit more juice in him, but I think he's looking to kind of wind down. So he has expressed an interest in that 2-year term. I think we established Emil isn't here, and Gary is not able to make it tonight either. So we do know, I think we know them well enough on reputation and the resumes that they've sent. Are there any nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Emil Barboza for the 5-year and Gary Alacqua for the 2-year.
Thank you very much. So we'll move right on directly to the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Emil Barboza has a 5-year term on the Zoning Board of Appeals, and Gary Alacqua will be taking that remainder 2-year term.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If I could just quickly, would like to recognize the many, many years by the outgoing member, Dan Pessia, who's been there, for, I believe, 15 years. And he has contributed so much over the years, and, sad that he can't continue, but I would like to, on behalf of the board, just say thank you to Mr. Pessia for everything he's done. He's been a great steward of that position and done good by the people of this town. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Last order of business is our consent agenda, and we have a number of items on here. I am going to pull for a vote one of these, item F. So I'll read the full consent agenda, and then we'll pull item F and vote that separately. Consent agenda, item A, approval of open session minute meetings of June 4th and June 18th, 2024. Item B, a reaffirmation of appointments. First, Brian Butler, 2-year term on the Council on Aging. Pamela McCarthy, 3-year term on the Metropolitan Area Planning Committee, MAPC. Jay Mallon, 3-year term on the Open Space Committee. And finally, Jay Mallon, 1-year term as an alternate on the Zoning Board of Appeals. Item C on the consent agenda is an application for a road race or parade, Be Inspired Together, Incorporated, on October 20th, 2024. Item D, purchase and sales agreement of property off Benson Road. Item E, application for a road race or parade, Stoughton Recreation Department on Stoughton Day, September 28th, 2024. And the final item which we'll pull is the First Amendment to employment agreement between the town of Stoughton and the town manager. I'll start by asking, does anybody have any of these that they'd like to comment on? Mr. Carrera.
Are you pulling F
Yes.
out for another time?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make it clear that I'm voting on the right thing.
Yeah, I want to make sure everyone's we get this right and don't step on our own toes. So does anybody want to pull any item besides item F? Yeah, yes. Okay, anybody want to pull or comment on any other items? In that case, I'll entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items A through E, I say.
I'm good.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as the chairman has stated, with F being removed.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay, so now we're going to discuss only item F.
I will not partake in F. I'll remove myself and sit in cheap seat.
Okay. Thank you very much. Vice Chair Carrera has recused himself from this discussion. So this is the First Amendment to employment agreement between the town manager and the town manager, and the town of Stoughton and the town manager. Apologies. So we have the agreement as part of the package. We've all had a chance to read it, and this has been voted in executive session. And this is just to the open session vote on this. So I'll start by asking, does anybody have any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
In reference to item 2A, Was 2A tabled, or was it no longer needed?
It was no longer
Because
needed.
it's directly connected to item 11F, as in Frank.
Item 2 is no longer necessary. That was an opportunity for a member who, that was Select Board member Lou Gino, who walked away before we were able to enter executive session in our last meeting. And this was an opportunity for him to provide input, and I was made aware that he wasn't going to attend this meeting at about 3 o'clock today. So it's no longer necessary. It seems he's well aware that this was going to be discussed and seemed to not want to be involved.
I agree with this direction, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
So I will make a motion to accept item 11F, which is the First Amendment to the employment agreement
Okay? And I'll-
between the town of Stoughton.
Thank you very much. I'll second that. And I'm going to take a roll call vote. Ms. Roberts?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Mr. McCrisky? Okay. So we have a quorum of 3 members and 2 affirmative votes. The motion passes. I guess the next item, that's over. So, Mr. Carrera, if you'd like to join us again. So the last order of business, how do we do it? It's 9 o'clock, and we can get a motion to adjourn.
So made.
Second.
Okay, made by Mr. Carrera, Vice Chair Carrera. I got to get in the habit of saying that. I apologize. Vice Chair Carrera and Ms. Roberts, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No?
Say happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July. You should say it.
Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Good night.
Have a great night.
See you at the parade.
Meeting adjourned 9:01. Thanks so much.